Hey everybody, welcome back to this thing that I've been doing. It is another episode for you to listen to. But before that episode, just want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Haven Cottage Investments. You've heard the drill. I've said it a million times. Anything and everything that has to do with homes, property, literally anything that you want to invest your money into. If you want to sell, buy, houses, whatever it is, you want to lease a house out, whatever, anything and everything, financial advice, you want a second opinion, really just you want to chat about the up and coming things happening in the property game, give Haven Cottage Investments a call. All right, literally anything and everything you need, all in the descriptions down below, contact, emails, phones, everything. And without further ado, here's the episode.
Podcast.
All right, Blake. American Idiot.
You don't even
Holiday. Just give me Give me a second.
Go ahead.
American Idiot. Holiday. Jesus of Suburbia. We Are the
Girl.
Waiting. No, We Are the Waiting. Saint Jimmy. Novocaine. Extraordinary Girl. Or no, I'm sorry. She's a Rebel. Extraordinary Girl. Then Letter Bomb. Wake Me Up When September Ends. Homecoming. And then what's her name? Did I get it right?
Jesus gonna make you my dying babe.
Hold on. I need to see if I got it right. Holiday Boulevard, We Are the Waiting, Jimmy, Give Me Over Kane, Jiro, Short and Little Bomb, Wake Me Up Some. Boom! Boom! Got it. Alright, go. Hold on, wait. I have to pull it up because I don't fucking know the order. Alright, go.
Custard Pie.
Yeah.
The Rover.
Yeah.
In My Time of Dying.
Yeah.
House of the Holy.
Okay.
God damn it. It's either Cashmere or Trampled Underfoot. I think it's Trampled Underfoot, then Cashmere.
Boom, boom.
Then In the Light.
Yeah.
Is the next one 10 Years Gone or is it Bron-Yr-Aur? Bron-Yr-Aur. And then 10 Years Gone. Is it Night Flight?
You're missing one song.
Trent's favorite song. Down by the Seaside.
There you go. Then it's
10 Years Gone.
Yep.
Then Night Flight.
Yep.
Then fuck me. Is it the Wonton song?
Yep.
Okay.
And then one of my favorites on this album.
It's not Black Woman.
No.
Is it Boogie With You?
Boogie with Stu.
Boogie with Stu, okay. And then it's Black Country Woman.
Yep.
And then I'm So Sick, or what was it?
It's close.
It's close?
Sick Again.
Sick Again, okay.
There you go. All right, good. Now, if no one gets what we're doing, we literally spent almost 3 minutes trying to list off songs. Welcome back to the One More Podcast. I forget what. Play that hit. One more hit. I don't know. Something. I forget the title.
One more album review.
One more. I guess.
One more album debate.
Well,
this is the very first one that we've ever done.
Because the first one was just a pure album review. So this one. If you haven't got this already, we have two different albums, two corners, boxing style, cage match. One is coming out bloodied and dead, and the other one is going to come out a victor. Or we're just going to be both bloodied and dead. Who knows? So what we're doing, pretty much, we have 4 categories that we came up with, and we're going to talk about, debate, kind of give our opinions, sort of go a little in-depth, tangent, whatever the heck we want to do. And trying to provide that, drumroll please, I can't do a drumroll for thank you. That, okay, thank you, Blake. All right.
Oh, sorry. Stop. Okay.
That this is the greatest album ever, to this date, ever and ever.
Completely opinion based.
Completely opinionated.
This is
non-commercialized.
Right. We made a point before we started this. Non-commercial. If we were to do commercial, we would have done Bad by MJ or Thriller by Michael Jackson or Back in Black by AC/DC.
Right.
But we chose not to do
Just
that.
the best in terms of in the 4 categories that we are doing. It is lyrical content. So analyzing each song. And I think we'll probably, since we have 26 songs to go through, we'll probably skim through it.
Sure.
Analyze the significance and kind of see how each song goes from go to go. And then consciousness of the album. So as a whole, the overall theme, the overall story, if it's a concept album, the tone going from the beginning of the album to the end of the album, how did it change? Did it stay the same? How the songs relate together as an album as a whole. Then we have the individuality of each song. So pulling each song out of the album and just playing it by itself. How does it stand alone? And then we have the performance and the sound and the instrumentation of each song. Or we can kind of mix mash to the overall album. The sound and the performance of the
musicianship of each artist doing their
in
thing.
Their album. Right. So we started listening with Green Day first. A little bit of background. I've been listening to Green Day for like a bajillion million years. I know that they're like way mainstream, but I don't really care because I like it and it's my preference in music. So did we even name the albums?
Not yet. No.
Okay. Oh, we haven't even named the albums. All right. So I picked American Idiot by Green Day. And fun fact, I loved the album and I knew each individual song and stuff like that, but really like going through and taking notes and listening. Oh, we also, God, I'm like totally spinning out of control here. Before we came on this podcast, we listened to each album. So we listened through the whole Green Day album, and then Blake, your album is
Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin.
So we listened to both albums all the way through from start to end. Sorry. So anyways, back to my point. I thought that it was really, really interesting, and I picked up on some stuff, and it's almost like, and I mentioned while we were listening, kind of foreshadowing, and they made some callbacks to original songs that it's kind of the same thing, and I'll admit it because I'm a goof, but with Bohemian Rhapsody, for the longest time, it was a song that was a song. And it was this awesome rock anthem opera thing.
Right.
And it wasn't until like I actually was listening to it and I was like, okay, here are the lyrics. Here's what he's trying to say. What? Oh, wow. This is just
way deeper than I thought.
Exactly.
It was.
It's not just the mama just killed a man. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Okay. But there's so much like this internal, we're not talking about Queen right now, but anyways, so kind of the similar realizations when I went through this album here. I think going through, I will say before we jump into it, going through listening to Led Zeppelin, there were a few points in times where I've legitimately wrote down really good licks, great performance and stuff like that. And so I was like a little worried. I was like, oh man, like this is. I will say again before we jump into it, I think Led Zeppelin overall are better musicians.
I don't think you can compare them.
I
think they're leagues above Green Day musicians.
I wouldn't say leagues above.
Really? So, I wrote this down on my Led Zeppelin sheet.
Yeah.
You're going to compare Billy Joe versus Robert Plant as a frontman.
Yes.
And then you're going to compare Billy Joe as a guitarist to Jimmy Page.
Maybe.
And then you're going to compare Bonzo or John Bonham to Trey.
Yes.
And then you're going to compare...
I think that's a good comparison.
You think that's a good comparison? Okay, we'll get into that.
I think it's a solid comparison.
Okay, then we'll get into that. And then you're going to compare John Paul Jones, who is the most underrated, the secret weapon of bands of all time, because that dude could literally play anything.
Sure.
To Mike.
To Mike, yes, to Mike.
Okay. I guess we'll get into that.
Okay. All right. So let's start. So I kind of just want to go conceptual.
You want to do American Idiot first?
I mean, sure.
Or do you want to do what's the first category? Lyrics?
I was gonna do. I wanted to talk conceptually, but we can do lyrics. We'll do lyrics. All right.
Yeah, let's go lyrics first.
So do you just want to song by song go for it?
No, I think I'm actually gonna give you the W on this.
What is the W?
The win.
Oh, duh. Okay, not the L. All right.
So, and that's whenever you first brought this up, and I was like, should I do a conceptual album like The Wall?
Mm-hmm.
Should I do something like this to, that lyrically is completely, philosophical and really takes a stab at what society is doing?
Mm-hmm.
Or should I do an album that I think where each song by itself could be an amazing single?
Mm-hmm.
And I chose the latter.
Okay.
And I kind of kick myself because I probably think I should have, because I even told you this when we were listening to it. I think I should have chosen a conceptual album because based on strictly lyrical content,
mm-hmm.
you Green Day kind of blew Led Zeppelin out of the water on this one.
I mean,
they had a plan once they first started, producing. This is what they were going to do. Billy Joel had a vision, and this is what they were going to do.
Sure.
Versus Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti, where and you kind of brought this up, it did feel like part of the times they were jamming together, and it just made amazing music.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And they took that, bit of audio live, and they're like, that sounds amazing. Let's put this on the album. Versus Green Day, where they went into the studio and said, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a stand on society. Let's do this right. Mm-hmm. And I think Green Day blew Led Zeppelin out of the water lyrically on this.
Damn. Okay. I mean, are we
not
even going to go?
No, let's go through it.
Okay.
But
all right.
I'm immediately giving you the W on this.
I appreciate that. Well, I will say there were a few when after you explain. Okay, granted, and going forward, and this is my loss. I'm a bad listener. I'm a bad music reviewer. I gave up halfway trying to follow the lyrics of Led Zeppelin because just for me, I don't know. For me. And you can say this going forward with any music that I listen to. I value the vocalist so much, and there are parts where the lead singer of Led Zeppelin killed it. Like I literally wrote down the parts when he goes like ooh yeah, or like the ooh yeah. Like I can't even do it because I have a horrible voice. I'm gonna cut that so no one can hear that. But when he's just like literally stretching his vocals and
giving it his all,
exactly, and it. Just no content at all, but just the sound, brilliant. I loved it. It was great. It was awesome. But when because I'm and forgive me, but I'm assuming he plays the guitar. Like
no, Robert Plant doesn't do that.
Oh, so he's just
Jimmy Page is Robert Plant only plays the harmonica.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he does play guitar, but on studio he didn't write any of the songs. It was Jimmy and John.
Okay, so he was just a singer.
He would write the lyrics and come up with the melody.
Yeah.
But the rest was up to Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones.
Okay. All right. Well, that changes my... Because, I mean, I always... I felt as if, like, he just... The lyrics and the vocals just kind of blended in with the guitar and the drums.
And I think that's part of the genius of Led Zeppelin is how much the four of those guys mesh together as a band.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's underrated nowadays, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And we got into debate on the car ride home yesterday about who's a better drummer, John Bonham versus Neil Peart.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought up the fact that John Bonham wouldn't have been as good without Robert Plant or Jimmy Page or John Paul Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're kind of onto something there because those four guys acted in such a mesh together that I don't think we'll ever see again in music.
Sure. They definitely supported each other, and it was definitely one conscious being versus, oh, hey, I can pick out Neil Peart, or oh, hey, I can pick out Trey Cool, or whatever. So I do agree. But anyways, back to lyrical content. We're straying. Gosh.
Sorry.
Okay, so first song, title song, and album title, American Idiot. I think out of all of this was probably the most shallow, just the least significant. I mean, you have, so the television dreams of tomorrow. Well, maybe I'm the faggot America. These are very aggressive, harsh terms. Trying.
They were definitely setting the tone for the whole album.
For sure. But in terms of like listening to it and okay, well, what is he talking about? I think this is kind of that introductory, that the 30-second opening, and other than that, that was about it. And the I guess setting the scene, but not saying anything. So you're just kind of opening, and I don't know, and that was about it. And
I think I remember telling you this before we started. I love this album. Whenever it came out in the fourth grade, whenever we were in the fourth grade, I remember because I was big into AC/DC at the time in the fourth grade. But when I first heard the opening riff to Holiday, I was kind of transformed, and I would listen to American Idiot, Holiday, Waking Up when September Ends, and Boulevard of Broken Dreams on repeat on my iPod Nano.
Sure.
That's just how I rolled.
No, yeah.
And but I don't know. I feel like the first song, American Idiot, though lyrically, I think is clever, almost in a very cynical, clever way.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of there for shock value, and that's kind of the idea of punk. It's to shock the listener and to make parents go, "Oh no, what? I don't want my kids listening to this."
Yeah.
And they definitely pulled it off with, making white suburban parents pissed off that their kids are listening to this quote garbage.
Yeah, I agree. So then moving along to, I got the order wrong. God damn it. I did American Idiot, and then I said Holiday, then Jesus Suburbia. It was American Idiot, then Jesus Suburbia, then Holiday. All right. So Jesus Suburbia. It's about, and
this is my favorite song off the album.
It's kind of hard because if we're going to talk lyrical content, since it is kind of a concept album, it's sort of hard not to incorporate the story into the lyrical content.
Yeah.
So I guess we can, I don't know, for the time, for at least for American Idiot, we can I merge it for now, I guess. Talk about both at the same time. All right. So Jesus Suburbia, you're setting up this character, and before I said it's about a guy, did you pick up on this is like a story of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Once after the first verse and the first chorus of Jesus of Suburbia, I was like, okay, so this is a story about a guy that's trying to make it out of the suburban lifestyle and try to find his own path.
Okay. Yeah. So Jesus of Suburbia, I'm marked... Okay, well, we can't... Golly, I just want to talk about the song, and I'm like, wait, nope, hold on, that's wrong. I can't talk about that yet. So, okay, lyrically speaking, I think it was definitely very back and forth. You had, and we'll talk more about this in the musical part, but this was like you're getting, and we talked about this. We paused while we were listening this, and we talked about it. And so this is definitely describing what you said. This kid. This kind of run-of-the-mill, boring kid, not very ambitious, just this kind of just a drop of water in this river of life. Not much to him. He's a druggie, not doing much. I'm trying to like reread this as I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and he's kind of faced with this idea of like, what am I going to do with my life? Where am I going? What's happening? Even he says, I don't care if you don't care, whatever. It's this kind of this passive sort of nonchalant attitude, and that's okay with him for now. Right? Yeah. Right now, he's just trying to get out, but he's not changing himself. And I think that's kind of an overall theme. Is this idea of change and this idea of, where do I belong and stuff like that.
And I think that maybe my one critique lyrically of this album is it's just quintessential punk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't think there was anything new or innovative about it.
Not groundbreaking.
It was, here's a story about a kid that grew up in the suburbs, wanted to do something different. He found a lifestyle that, was different and innovative, and he wanted to rebel against his parents, blah, blah, blah. That's my only critique about lyrically of this album.
Well, but I don't think the I think we can just make a blanket statement that overall this entire album is lyrically clever. Yes. I don't think this is just like a, and not to like poke fun, but like the yeah, the oh, whatever kind of stuff.
And I think that made it worse on you because you actually had to read the words yeah. as opposed to if we were to just listen to it.
True.
And we cut out the oh yas and yas that Robert Plant would do for like two
True.
or three measures.
True.
I think if you were to, Green Day still won on this, but if you were to take out those, and I don't know, the fact that you're looking on paper and you're seeing Robert, and you're hearing Robert Plant go, ooh yeah, and you're actually reading it, that kind of takes away from the soulfulness and the amazing capacity of his vocals. Versus here, we don't get any of that, and it's just Billy Joe keeping in his range, singing about shit that he thinks matters.
Oh, for sure. One thing I noted in Jesus of Suburbia, I like this line. There's just hurricane of fucking lies. There's kind of like this disorder to it where, it really is. You get yourself in a pit of lies and you're moving forward with your life. It's hard. So if you're trying to leave it, well, it's hard to leave this hurricane because one lie leads to another, which leads to another, which then how are you going to escape that? So I thought that was kind of a nice line. So then following through, does Holiday. I think so. After we've established this character and we get this idea of who he is and his ideas and his thoughts and opinions, I guess I would say that he goes on holiday is just really what it is. And so he sees through I say the soldiers of faith. He has this loss of religion, loss of faith himself. Just go crazy. Let's see what we can do. And so, bombs away as your punishment. Who criticize? And obviously, this is a very, very hyper political. And obviously, this is about Bush. And I think Billy Joe has gone on record a million times saying this was the war and invading the Middle East and stuff like that. Sure. But all hell breaks loose, and he's going along with it because that's his character. That's who he is.
And I do want to give him credit for this song. Instead of making, and which he did make a political statement about Bush and the war on terrorism. But there were a couple of lines in here where he did grant sympathy and empathy to the soldiers that were going over there against their will almost. And I'd want to give him credit lyrically for that. He didn't have to put that in there.
Sure.
But he did, and I thought that was a great step.
I agree. So then moving forward, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, he's kind of at this point where he's sort of hit a wall and he's alone now. It's the bombs and explosions are over and you're kind of in the dust of this. And so now he's by himself. So he's left his home. He's out on his own. He thought this was going to be some grand adventure, this crazy, bombastic, crazy life. But he's on his own. He's on his own, and that's it. And that's really it for that song. I didn't really. There's no like, whoa, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it kind of is what it is. On that song.
Then moving forward with Are We the Waiting? Same kind of thing. I wrote down. He's just kind of in this rest spot. He's in this. He's sort of in this. What's the purgatory? I guess you can kind of say complacency, purgatory type area where he doesn't know what else. So he's kind of again lost. But he's not going anywhere. He's not going forward. He's not going backward.
This was kind of my least favorite song of the album because I feel like it was just piggybacking on Boulevard of Broken Dreams. That's how I saw it.
I agree. And part of it is, and what I really liked, and we can get a little more into it later, but was that you did have these songs that flow together. So Holiday goes into Boulevard of Broken Dreams. We Are the Waiting goes into Saint Jimmy. So these are combo songs where, so he's waiting, We Are the Waiting. It's the same kind of tone, same kind of idea, but then all of a sudden, hey,
here comes
Jimmy.
Saint Jimmy.
Yeah, here comes Saint Jimmy. He's this fucking, and we're moving into the next song. He's just this crazy, badass motherfucker. He doesn't give a shit. He's the king of the 40 thieves. He's here to represent. And I thought it was kind of funny. And I don't necessarily know you can call this commentary, but the chorus is he's an angel face with a taste for suicide, or for a taste for suicidal.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of funny where it's like that's genuinely true in real life. It's like the sweetest looking guys and just the most innocent looking people can go fucking batshit.
You may never know.
Exactly. And I thought that was good. So just the Jesus of Suburbia meets up with St. Jimmy, and they finally get together, and there's some kind of huge spark between them. They're great, they're pals, they're friends. Then leading into Novocaine.
And I think that ties into Boulevard of Broken Dreams, though.
What do you mean?
Where this kid is all alone, and he's got nothing. Seems like he doesn't have a lot of friends. And here comes this badass rebel named Jimmy.
Sure.
Where, he feels accepted, and he feels like he can be part of the group or whatever.
Yeah.
The only downfall is Jimmy gets him into a lot of shit.
It's true. And then moving on, they're doing drugs and being on Novocaine. And it's just the song "Give Me Novocaine." They just get fucked up. I guess you put a pause on their going out and seeking this adventure and seeking this life and seeking this fame and whatever it is. They just get fucked up and they kind of stop. And then that's "Give Me Novocaine." And then the girl comes in, and honestly, yes. I like the songs about the girl. All three of them. They're probably on the top half of what I appreciate about it. So yeah, she's a rebel. Just this girl who's bad for Jesus of Suburbia. Just really horrible.
But he can't help it.
Exactly, he's in love, and that's just this infatuation and just this they're so right for each other in the wrong way. And she's even towards the end, whenever they're fading out, she's a rebel, and she's dangerous. I mean, that's what it is. She's this loaded gun, potentially could ruin his life. So then what Blake caught that I didn't necessarily catch, because, and again, this is where I was talking about realizing, oh wait, this is actually what it means versus what I initially interpreted, was Extraordinary Girl, which is him leaving her. And for whatever reason, I guess I don't know if I couldn't really tell what specifically why he left, but he left, and so that was just that whole song. I like the song. We can get into why it's not a good song.
Looking at it now, I think it's she shows a lot of self-consciousness. If you look at the lines, she sees the mirror of herself, an image she wants to sell. To anyone willing to buy. She sounds like a girl, the quintessential girl with daddy issues that wants to,
just be accepted.
Yeah, be accepted. And what if that means, screwing a bunch of dudes, then so be it.
Sure.
And I don't think he was having that. And so he wanted to leave, and he wasn't going to have that.
True. That's true. So then, after he leaves, the next song, Letter Bomb, which I would probably say that and another song, What's Her Name, is my two favorite songs on the album. I had a hard time understanding, and even looking at it now, Blake, for Letter Bomb, I just think after leaving, just shit hits the fan again. It's just another holiday where, total reanalysis of what's going on with St. Jimmy and what's going on with Jesus of Suburbia.
He was on cloud 9 with Jimmy and with this girl, and when he lost the girl, he kind of went into a spiral. If you look at some of the lines, the city motto gets pulverized. What's in love is now in debt on your birth certificate. So strike the fucking match to light this fuse. The town bishop is an extortionist. I don't know. It feels like another, kind of attack on him trying to resist going home.
True.
Because he just lost the love of his life.
True.
Whether it be his own accord or her, fault. He's trying to resist going back home. And so he's just trying to fight the feeling of trying to be accepted, but eventually he does fall back into that.
True. Because then, following the next song, Wake Me Up When September Ends, which is just a huge homage to his dad, just his, and Billy Joe specifically, his dad passing, and just how he felt, and incorporating this into the story. So the girl leaves, and then Billy Joe Armstrong's dad dies, and the character's dad dies. So following, to Homecoming is when he comes back home. So after going out on his own and after doing all this shit and getting fucked up and going on this crazy, quote unquote, crazy adventure, he comes back. and this is when his friend Saint Jimmy dies, and so all that he had, he lost, and so now he's back home. He's taken up a job, but he hates his job. He's not listening to a word now. He's in his own world and he's daydreaming. He'd rather be doing something else now, like cigarettes and coffee with the underbelly. And then that's referencing back to Letterbomb, where even though it's the hysteria of this crazy underbelly of the city and living on his own and doing whatever, he'd still rather be in the chaos than be in this boring job.
Right.
And he rather have that passion. So, somebody get me out of here, blah, 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 blah. And then following the next part, nobody likes you, but something went wrong and I can't tell anyone because no one's here. So he's alone. He's here. He's stuck in a place where he doesn't want to be. And then following the next part, which I like this part, and it's just I guess he taking a second shot at going out and getting that lifestyle that he wanted and doing what he wanted. And he is successful, but then comes back, and I guess he comes back successful though. So he's here they come marching down the street like a desperation murmur of a heartbeat, coming back from the edge of town underneath their feet. After saying "fuck it, let's go, let's do it," he's coming back successful. He's coming back to home in this way. So we're coming home again, moving, repeating. And then he's back home. He had the life that he wanted. He's been to there and back again, and going to the last song, "What's Her Name?" Well, he's still thinking about that girl. He's still thinking about the extraordinary girl, the rebel girl, who he lost, and he's just wondering. And this hits home for me, and I don't necessarily want to get super in depth to it, but just never turning back time, forgetting you, but not the time. And that's just. I can vibe with that sentiment a lot, and that's why this is probably one of my favorite songs. It's just because it's about the heart. You have great relationships in your life, and then you do such great things, and you become a better person, and you do all these things, but you're still curious about them. You still wonder, but it's never going to work. But you don't want to forget them. So
the one that got away never leaves.
Exactly. So so that was American Idiot. Like I said, I was really surprised at some stuff that I picked up on, and then being corrected on how I thought it was. Overall, I think lyrically speaking, it was entertaining. It was listening to the lyrics, and I guess this kind of branches for me at least, the music and the lyrics and just kind of this story essentially. It was over, and then I was like, wow, it's over. Mm-hmm. And I think you had the same sentiment. It was like, oh wow, an hour already passed.
Like, wow, that was it. That was 13 songs.
We're done.
Wow,
is this it? So that is that. And moving on to now Led Zeppelin. And obviously, like we stated before, this isn't a concept album, so we can just kind of, if you want to, bam, quick fire for it, because we are a little over half an hour now. I know we kind of talked a lot.
Well, then let's just
bam. All right. Hey, Blake, what's custard pie about?
Having sex.
All right. Hey, Blake, what's the rover about?
Having sex in London.
Really? Time
Pretty much, yeah.
The wind's crying, and you got all she's lying on the dark side of the globe. Yeah. All right. Tell me, darling, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
My lover, she is lying on the dark side of the globe. Mm-hmm. If we could just join hands. You got me rocking when I ought to be rolling. It's about him falling head over heels for a girl in London.
That makes sense. And then In My Time of Dying.
It's a song about him trying to, or whoever wrote this, whether it be Robert or Jimmy, I'm not sure who, trying to figure out how he's going to be remembered. That's how I see it. Mm-hmm. How he's going to be remembered whenever he dies. And there's a point in the song where he says, oh, I did somebody some good. And he repeats that. Oh, I believe I did. I see the smiling faces. And right when that happens, the tempo speeds up, and Jimmy Page on the slide guitar gets more frantic and more ridiculous. And I think that's a sign of him frantically trying to convince himself before he dies,
Mm-hmm.
I did some good. I did a good job. I deserve to be in heaven or whatever. I did a good job. And I think that's about the deepest that this song will go.
Okay.
And moving on to
Houses of the Holy.
Houses of the Holy. And again, Led Zeppelin is kind of weird with their lyrics, especially in this album. This album came out when rock was kind of bloated.
Mm-hmm.
People were doing 9-minute guitar solos on stage, and musicians were trying to be, these very intricate, over the top, guitar gods.
Mm-hmm.
And so Led Zeppelin kind of took a step back, and this is kind of why I love Tom Petty so much. They kind of took a step back and said, okay, what are the roots of what we're trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
Where is rock and roll found? It's found in blues, it's found in soul, and it's found in anger and love. And that's what they were trying to do with this album. So House of the Holy, I don't know whatever notes you took, but I didn't really take much.
I just knew that there was some. I noted that there's some good guitar riffs. Can I remember them? No, but I mean, I noted it.
Yeah, it's a good album. It's a good song. It's the number 4 track of the album, so obviously the band thought that this was going to be one of their greatest hits, and it kind of is still remembered as one of their better songs. But anything lyrically wise, I wouldn't take anything too. I think it's kind of cliche about, they have lines about, where is that line? Oh, Satan, oh man, said there ain't no use in crying because it will only drive you mad. And I think that's kind of a step off from In My Time of Dying. It is what it is kind of thing.
Sure.
He didn't get into heaven kind of thing, which is, in terms of conceptually, lyrically, that's not anything crazy. Trampled Underfoot, I thought it was just a great ass groove. And I think Robert Plant just kind of put lyrics and a melody to it.
Yep.
That's kind of how I felt about the whole song.
Yep. Because there's definitely a lot of repetition in the lyrics.
Oh yeah.
It was And I don't remember if this is where I made the comment about I just feel it's a one giant groove.
I think that's where it was.
Oh,
because it was right after In My Time of Dying, and you were like, I kind of get what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then we come to the best song on the album for commercially, Kashmir, which I'm still don't know how I feel about this song. It's kind of out there again. They mention, a lot of metaphors about what Kashmir is, how it brings rain, it brings winds, it brings monsoons kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think conceptually this whole album is essentially each song is about a girl in some way or another, except for In My Time of Dying. And so I think that's the same way with Kashmir. It's just a giant metaphor for a girl that he loves and going through a rocky relationship.
Okay. All right.
And then we get to In the Light, which again I think is just another groove. It was an interesting groove because you had John Paul Jones with a different kind of melody when it comes to his synthesizer kind of deal, with the piano and the guitar kind of matching up.
I did like the mesh of the guitar and piano. Yeah. It was good.
But other than that, I think it's just another song about boinking, whatever.
All right.
And then my favorite song of the album.
Best lyrics ever.
Yeah, Bron-Yr-Aur, which
best
it's 2 minutes and 39 seconds of just Jimmy Page shredding on an acoustic guitar. And I don't know if, and I guess we'll talk about this later, I think it was masterful.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of work that I'm sure it took for him to make that song, that was only less than 3 minutes, was unheard of.
It took a lot.
Down by the Seaside, my little brother's favorite song by Led Zeppelin. I don't know why, but again, it was another thing where he's just trying to remember this girl that he would talk to down by the seaside. It wasn't anything special. It was a good groove. It was a chillax kind of smoking weed kind of song,
sure,
which anybody can groove to.
Sure.
10 Years Gone, which is, I take back what I said. This is my favorite song off the album.
Okay.
This song, to me, resonates deep because it's about this guy that remembers 10 years ago the same love that he had for the girl that he's with now. And no matter whatever they fight about, no matter whatever they go through, this is the same feeling hasn't left him.
Sure.
10 years ago. And they dive deeper into it. Night Flight, the next song on the album, meh. The lyrics seemed overly complicated than what was necessary.
Okay.
And I remember listening to this at work going, this is a great groove, and it starts off really bombastic after a really mellow 10 Years Gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, I didn't see anything spectacular from it. Did you?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Like I said, and and again, this is just the fault of my own. It was hard for me to follow the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It really was, and I know, kind of jokingly, I was like, "Where are we in the lyrics?" But then, more realistically, I was like, and I have to attribute it to the singer repeating a lot of stuff, like the ooh yeahs and the one-liners and stuff like that. He repeated a couple times, and it wasn't marked because I was lazy at finding the proper lyrics, I guess, of each song. But I mean, even then, it's like you might have the released lyrics that are the song, but then when you're jamming and you're grooving, you're gonna repeat things because ooh, that sounds really good. Let's do that again.
Right.
And I get that. So
next is the Wonton song, which
I don't remember it, honestly.
That's fine. And Led Zeppelin, again, lyrically, it was kind of weird. Jimmy Page came up with this idea for a guitar, kind of acoustic driven mandolin kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert, I feel, just kind of put lyrics on top of it, melody wise.
Sure.
And again, this is not dissing on, because I still will argue that this is a better album, but lyrically wise, like I said, this doesn't cut it compared to the poeticness of Billy Joe throughout the whole album. Next, we have Boogie with Stu, which I think was just another groove. It was just another badass groove that I will love to this day. Black Country Woman.
Is this about his mama?
I don't know if it's about his mama or he's calling his girl his mama. That's like a girl calls her man daddy.
Yeah.
And a guy will call her mama or his girl mama. Like, what's good, mom, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just another song that lyrically it's not anything special, but I think it's a fun ass groove. Sick Again. I thought this one was a little bit more complex in terms of he's actually describing the girl that he loves currently. You pointed out that this was a kind of almost a pedophile-ish song where he mentions a 16-year-old girl or a 13-year-old girl.
I was rereading it, and I just and obviously, taken out of context, that's what it seems like. But within knowing that this album is generally about lost love or the different women and stuff like that, I kind of get this song. I don't know, man. Go ahead.
No, I completely feel you. And if this is a crowd of groupie, okay,
yeah,
like a 16-year-old groupie that loves Led Zeppelin, okay,
sure. No,
like it was, it is what it is, kind of thing. Zeppelin, the Beatles, they all had
for sure
15 and 16-year-old girls that wanted to have their babies in a heartbeat. And so if he's writing a song about that, it is what it is.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it did. And then and that's basically it for lyrically for Physical Graffiti. I think the one check goes to American Idiot for this one.
Cool. I'm
sure
I'm willing to take that without having to go super crazy.
Alrighty.
All right, so we've kind of intertwined, I guess. We can conceptually talking about the album and stuff like that.
Yeah. We did the conceptual aspect and we did the lyrical aspect for sure.
So, and I don't know how we'll do this specifically, but I guess we can kind of merge the individual sound of the song and the conceptual, because I think it just kind of goes hand in hand, and then we can divide and give the check marks to here. So, conceptually, or I guess from song to song of each album, I really think that American Idiot stands out because in terms of technical skill and the groove and the riffing and everything like that, sure, I'll give Led Zeppelin and then band, I'll give them that they were better, and the sound and I guess I don't know the band overall. I don't know what kind
the
of
group chemistry.
The chemistry, yeah. So, but I think that's also kind of a product of the genre, where I think with progressive rock you have the ability to add a funky piano, and you have the ability to add kind of this sax kind of in the background, and you have the ability to just jam and have like this bass line and stuff like that. Whereas with Green Day, it is a punk rock album. It's probably a little more rock than punk, but there are certain limitations where you have to stay within that punk rock, otherwise it becomes progressive punk rock, and that's not necessarily what they were trying to go for. But I will say, overall, as I was listening to Led Zeppelin, and again, like I said, I kind of made this comment jokey wise, but I was serious about it. For the majority of the album, when you hear the riff and the first part of the song, that's generally how it goes. And I will agree, in My Time of Dying and Trampled Underfoot.
How about Kashmir?
Well, Kashmir, sure, and I mean, but those are the popular singles, like the instant hits.
There was only one single off of this album.
Was that Kashmir?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so then I will give Time of My Dying that, and then Boogie with Stu. Those are just off the top of my head. The kind of fun, different, where it fluctuates. And I even made a comment on The Rover. I noticed at the very end of the song was when they kind of shifted an octave with that guitar, and it and I was like, I want more of that. But then it ended, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whereas and unfortunately I didn't do it because and I did it a few times within each one, but I don't know if it was just because I wasn't I couldn't catch it when they did a change. But with Green Day, I thought the change in composition was a lot more noticeable. It was very much, let's take Jesus Suburbia. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different shifts right. in the song, where it either slows down, speeds up, changes instrumentation, anything like that. With Holiday, there was a change when after there was a breakdown whenever he starts singling it out. Boulevard of Broken Dreams happens twice. And then at the end, when they just go into this heavy, this kind of grungy sound, let's see, St. Jimmy, same thing. There's one shift where it starts kind of breaking down. Where it's like, my name is St. Jimmy, I'm a son of a gun. So they slow down with that. And then Gimme Novocaine's kind of the whatever. There's a guitar solo, which was nice. I will say, I like the fact that both albums had a lot of guitar solos.
Yeah. And I guess we'll get to that with musicianship in the next segment. Mm-hmm. But piggybacking off of what you said, and this is why I was debating about doing a concept album, because I knew that conceptually you would win. Mm-hmm. But if let's say you take a Homecoming and you just put it on the radio, or you take, and that's the problem with concept albums. If you take one out of it. And you just leave it without any context, it's kind of lost. That's how I feel.
I have to disagree.
Okay.
Because let's take Homecoming. So, with me, I feel like when you listen to a song, because Bohemian Rhapsody, that's like what, a 7-minute song, something like that.
6 or 7 minutes.
6 minutes, 7 song, right? And it's all over the place, and I don't think when they release, I don't listen. I've listened to the greatest hits. Unfortunately, sorry. I haven't listened to. I think I've only listened to one studio album, and even then, I don't know the album itself. But when you listen to that song, you're invested, and I think that's with these. It's almost just like a chapter of a book. So if you know the whole album and you know the story from front to back, it's like tuning in and saying, "Oh, let's read this part." So. Watching Spider-Man: Homecoming.
That's assuming that you've already read that book, though. Mm-hmm. Like if you took a person that had never listened to American Idiot before.
Well, doesn't that fall under the commercialism type deal? This is. So you're saying to be a greatest album, you need to have.
No, I don't think it needs to be commercially successful, because American Idiot was much more successful than Physical Graffiti.
No. What I mean,
I think it was.
I don't know. Fake news, I guess. But
But I think if you were to take a person that hadn't listened to American Idiot once and you just showed them one song out of context, I don't know if they would get that part of the song, but context matters
and
for this album specifically.
I do agree, but you have the song like Homecoming, and I think the lyrics are the lyrics. It's, I think, and especially with Homecoming, you have Mike Dirnt, Trey Cool, and Billy Joe Armstrong all singing in the song. They all play a part in the song. And so I think they sound beautiful. I don't think a single one of them has a bad voice. Sure, it's not super fantastically Freddie Mercury, but they don't have bad vocals. So, and this is, like I said, for me, lyrics and vocal is just as important as the lead guitar, as the bassist, as the drums.
Okay.
And so I think, sure, okay, what are you talking about? Jesus filling out paperwork at the facility at East 12th Street. Okay, what does that mean? Well, you don't know. Joe Blow, who's never heard of the song, he might not understand that, but I still don't think that takes away of like how good of a content of the song. Just like you think. Well,
if you think lyrically, vocally, it's just as important. If you were to come in and try to dissect Homecoming or Saint Jimmy or what's her name, I think you would have a difficult time doing that. Versus if you took a song off of Physical Graffiti and it's like, okay, what's the song about? Vocally, lyrically, what is the song about? Oh, it's about this. It's about a girl and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And that's why I chose an album that wasn't conceptually made. It was a song, or was an album that just had a 15 or so awesome grooves that the band thought, this is something new, this is something different, let's go with it. Okay. Versus a conceptual album where each song is building off of the other and off of the one after it.
Well, but even then, I mean, you play Jesus of Suburbia, and okay, well, sure, I guess that's kind of an introductory song, so it still stands alone by itself. I think only a couple songs, I will give you Are We the Waiting, and maybe Give Me Novocaine, that it's important to understand the story to get it. But I think but just because of the couple of songs that may fall a little shorter, I think each song itself stands just as powerful.
No, I kind of agree with you that American Idiot was a huge hit. Holiday was a huge hit. Boulevard of Broken Dreams was a huge hit. Wake Me Up When September Ends was a huge hit. But I think if you're going to choose a conceptual album, you have to understand that you will turn some people off because they don't know what the hell this song is referring to.
Well, but
if no one would know what Wake Me Up When September Ends is about.
What are you talking about?
If they hadn't heard of an interview with Billy Joe Armstrong, saying that this is about my dad.
So okay. Wake Me Up When September Ends, Like My Father's, Come to Pass, 7 Years Has Gone So Fast, Make Me Up When September Ends, but Never Forget What I Lost. Okay. The Innocent Can Never Last. I think these are just kind of blanket statements where it is, and you can pull from it, you can infer from it without needing to know any context. Okay. I don't know. I mean, and I'm not.
You kind of convinced me there. All right. I'm with you.
So I like I said, I think in terms of overall songs melding together, or I guess we're talking about both the singles and overall songs melding together.
Sure.
I think these singles, because I mean, and I hate to use the radio example, but you tune to any rock punk radio or whatever, and they'll play Holiday. They'll play, like you said, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. They'll play. I've even heard She's a Rebel. So it's. I don't think these. I think each song is powerful enough to be on its own. And I think that's also contributes to the overall vibe, because like what we said, or at least what I said, Led Zeppelin, it was definitely a slower album. Mm-hmm. It was definitely, it was these guys knew what they wanted to play. They were riffing, they were, filling together, and so they were just, it was a jam session. And I totally dig it. I'm totally down. I just think, I don't know. I guess I get more hype when Green Day comes on, and I think that justifies it being a better song overall because I can sit down and I can, and I legit, and Blake, I was not asleep. I swear to God, I was not asleep. Sit down, close my eyes, and enjoy the song. Because it was, what did I say it was?
Boogie with Stew?
No, not Boogie with Stew. I think it was Trampled Underfoot.
Okay.
Was when I said it sounded like rain. Or which one was it? No. 10 Years Gone, maybe? I don't remember. I just, in my head, I was picture with the instrumentation. I was able to kind of sit back, relax, and just imagine the story and create the story myself. So, disregard the lyrics and stuff like that, but the sound was powerful enough for me to be able to enjoy that. But that being said, I think when you have these hype songs and you have these the crazy fast guitar and the just quick drum fills and just the powerful, and I hope you agree that Billie Joe Armstrong just has a powerful voice just in general. I will grant that the lead singer of Led Zeppelin does have probably a better range and probably has a little more depth to his voice.
Well, you're talking to a person who thinks Robert Plant is the greatest frontman in rock and roll history.
Well, true.
And so the dude has the range that has only been matched by one person before him or after him, and that's Chris Cornell.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Robert Plant stands leagues above what Billie Joe did, because this was kind of another one of my critiques on musicianship, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All of the songs in American Idiot, vocally, he did not show a lot of range. It was in a certain place, and it kept going through the whole album.
True.
Where you heard Robert go extremely high on some parts, and he would sustain a note for 16 bars, or he would keep it subdued and kind of sensual in some parts. Mm-hmm. And he would go a little bit low and raspy on some parts.
I totally agree.
And so I don't know. That was my complaint with Billie Joe. I love I continuously listened to Holiday when I was in the 4th grade or whatever, whenever it came out.
Were you saying Holiday's only for 4th graders?
No, but that's when it came out, when we were in the 4th grade, dude. Oh, that was 2004.
I didn't start listening to it until I was in late high school, I think.
Oh, okay.
Like just Green Day at general.
Okay.
I was listening to the Beatles in middle school.
Oh, well, good for you. Yeah, Dad raised you right.
Yeah.
And that's actually where I found this album, was my dad.
Oh,
my
really?
dad would listen to, this is one of my dad's favorite albums. I was going to do Led Zeppelin 4, because it had Stairway to Heaven, it had Rock and Roll, it had Black Dog. It was the biggest hits that one of the 3 of the biggest hits Led Zeppelin has ever had. Mm-hmm. But I decided to go with something different because it was different, and I think it's underrated as a musical experiment in terms of where rock and roll music was at that time. Led Zeppelin kind of went the opposite direction. That's essentially why I chose Physical Graffiti.
No, I see that. I can vibe with that. All right, so then I guess, so overall concept, would you?
Yeah, concept, you win.
Oh, okay.
Again, like lyrically and concept, you win.
Okay.
Because yours is a concept
so
album.
you still think though but even then I think you,
and tone wise, mine is kind of all over the place. Your tone wise, yours stays pretty consistent the whole way through. Mm-hmm. Mine shifts. Mm-hmm. Physical Graffiti shifts a lot. It talks about.
But is it a structured shift, or is it just, okay, here's one song, here's another song, here's another song, here's another song? It's kind of all under the same umbrella, but we're going different directions.
I think that.
Okay.
It's all in the same umbrella of, let's kind of bring it back a little bit. Let's kind of subdue the rock and roll-y, over the topness that was going on at that time. Mm-hmm. And let's get back to what rock and roll is about. And so, yeah, it falls under the umbrella of rock and roll, but it's all over the place. Like, you have symphonic rock with Kashmir. Yep. You have hardcore folk with In My Time of Dying. You have a weird prog rock with Down by the Seaside. Mm-hmm. You have classical rock with Bron-Yr-Aur. You have a classically trained guitarist, Jimmy Page, who's showing off his skills. And then you have blues with with a Black Country Woman. Mm-hmm. It's all over the place in the genre of rock, whereas yours conceptually stays consistent the whole way through. Mm-hmm. And so I give you the W on that. Conceptually, because it's a concept album, you win.
But you're saying because it's more takes more risks and goes different directions, you think that each song in terms
I think
of
each song stands alone on its own because it's original and different. And I was going to bring this up for whenever we were going to talk about musicianship.
Sure.
But if you look at chord progressions for...
I know you were taking notes. Yeah.
If you look up chord progressions for most of Green Day's songs, they are all so cliche.
Sure.
In terms of what they go from A minor to F to C to G. They go E to G to D to C. Mm-hmm. It's songs that are the easiest songs to play for guitarists. Mm-hmm. They kind of flash it up with the fifth above the minor scale or whatever. They'll do crazy stuff like that, which isn't essentially crazy, but it's just a pinky one way or a ring finger the other way on the fretboard.
Sure.
But essentially it's the same stuff, same stuff we've been hearing a long time for punk and rock. Mm-hmm. It's not anything different except lyrically and the different ways that they would transition the melodies. Mm-hmm. Chord progression wise, it's all something we've heard before. Like, and I remember telling you this, I heard Basket Case.
Yeah.
Whenever we were listening to, what song was it?
Letter Bomb.
Yeah, Letter Bomb. I was like, the beginning sounds exactly like Basket Case. Mm-hmm. And I looked it up and it's the same chord progression. It's just a different melody.
Sure.
And so that's why I think Physical Graffiti, because each one is so different, and Jimmy Page took complete, and utter, loyalty to his own craft to construct a song that we've never heard before. Like Kashmir is done in a tuning called Dadgad, which is DADGAD, instead of standard E tuning.
Sure.
And he created this song that would go up and down the neck of the guitar that we'd never heard before. Mm-hmm. And in My Time of Dying, he did open G tuning, all slides. I think that's a completely original versus Green Day's American Idiot, where you have kind of the same chord progressions through a lot of songs that we've heard before.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're right, and I agree. I just, because it's like for me, it's like you have, all right, you see a pie. Okay. It's a really good looking pie.
Okay.
It smells good.
Is it a custard pie?
No, blueberry pie.
Okay.
So you have a blueberry pie and you have like a cherry pie, and both look really, really good.
Okay.
But then you open up the pie, and one has fresh, delicious cherries, and the other one has all right blueberries. They're all right looking, but they're still going to taste good, and they're still going to smell good. But if you dig deep into the music, and I wouldn't necessarily say as a music buff, that Led Zeppelin has put more meat into it. So it's a meat pie apparently now. So they put more.
They went out into the field. They picked their own cherries.
Right.
They found an orchid that,
instead of just buying it from Walmart.
Right. And I think that's kind of what Green Day did. They found blueberries at a superstore and put it into a pie and sold it.
That's true. But I mean, it's still good though. I'll still buy that pie.
No, it's still delicious.
I'll buy that pie.
But I will prefer a homemade authentic cherry pie.
Do you think that is just because you're more of a music snob? And I don't mean this in an offensive way.
No.
Just
what do you
because you can. Because for me, I'm not saying, oh wow, that I my first intention wasn't let's look up the chord progression. Let's look up what the content of the music is. I'm just hearing it face value. This sounds good. And so I think that's why you were able to pick up on this sounds like Basket Case. Oh, this immediately I can pick up that this melody or whatever, or this the chorus of this, the sound of this chorus sounds like whatever
Rover from Led Zeppelin.
Right. Yeah.
Can we bring that up real quick?
Okay, so Blake says that in Extraordinary Girl, the chorus, whenever it kind of goes down, it's like this down step of this guitar riff. It sounds similar to this up and down sound.
There are 4 notes that are exactly the same in the same order.
I would have to look at the music sheet. I need to see the music sheet.
Okay, deal.
I would need
right
to see
after
the music.
this. Let's do it.
That's fine. But anyways, it sounds similar. But I think that's just coincidence.
That's fine.
Because it's two different
coincidence.
Spheres. It's two different spheres of music. And I'm not saying, nobody from Green Day ever they did not listen to Led Zeppelin. I'm sure maybe they had a fever dream about Led Zeppelin, and then it was like, oh, this sounds really good, and then they forgot about it, and then they were playing. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. But, I'm not going to say, man, I'm not going to listen to Extraordinary Girl because it sounds similar.
No, I've never felt that way. And I brought this up with Danny California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Uh-huh.
It's the same chord progressions and the same stop and fills as Mary Jane's Last Dance by Tom Petty.
Mm-hmm.
I still love Danny California.
Sure.
I still love that song.
True.
And even Tom Petty has gone on record saying, you know what, music is music. It is what it is. People are going to, it happens. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to, try to sue them or anything. It is what it is.
No, I understand.
And, but that just kind of threw me for a loop because I remember I listened to Physical Graffiti like 3 times today at work.
Yeah.
And so the Rover is is an awesome groove that it's a really distinct, chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard the 4 notes that go in descending order, the same kind of descending order that goes in the Rover, I was like, I even told you, I was like, the hell?
Yeah.
That is obviously the Rover.
Yeah.
It's obvious whether Green Day meant to do that or not. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
It's still, Led Zeppelin did it first. And the fact that you love this song by Green Day kind of speaks value on Led Zeppelin, I think, more than it does on Green Day. In terms of that part.
Sure. No, I agree. So, but to back what I was originally saying, I think you'll hold that in higher value if someone, if the finger techniques and the licks that they do and just this, insane crazy guitar stuff, that it sounds good, sure, but I'll take generic Walmart brand that sounds just as good, maybe a little less good. I'm not going to say in what context, but I'll still enjoy that. And I guess that's just a preference, and that's just a music taste, because and I was conflicted about doing a Muse album, and they're fucking all over the place in terms of the music, and in terms of what they play, the orchestral version that they play. They're all over the place, and so that's why I was kind of on the fence. And I don't know, I think I'll give you the W for musicianship and song. I'll concede and give you the W on that, just because I respect it. I still think Green. I don't know.
This is bias. This is bias.
We've butt heads. We're just
you love. This is this is your favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
If not one of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything to compare when you listen to the solos. I even marked whenever I was looking up Holiday solo, and I was looking up other solos from Boulevard of Broken Dreams. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
All right.
Because they were simple, B and E strings going up the neck.
It wasn't like crazy.
Versus you listen to In My Time of Dying, where you have a slide and you have an open G tuning, and he is all over the freaking map with that slide, which if you've ever played guitar before, learning how to play with the slide and make it sound good is incredibly difficult.
Wait, so well then Blake, now we're going to next podcast we'll have to compare Led Zeppelin 4 to this one.
To which one?
To this album.
To Physical Graffiti?
Physical for Graffiti.
Okay, do.
All right. Well, I don't want to, but...
Okay.
All right, so what? So we have 2 W's. I have 2 W's. You have 2 W's.
How do I have 2 W's? Which ones?
The
musicianship and song?
And then I have concept
your
and
concept
lyrics.
And your lyrics, yeah.
So, was it doomed to fail?
We should have chosen 5... topic or 5 categories.
What was your second runner-up?
My second runner-up was The Traveler by Chris Stapleton.
And that is a concept album or no?
No, it's a collection of 30 years of my favorite country artists who, for 30 years, was in the shadows of Nashville.
Oh, that's right.
And he finally came out and made his own album. And it's 30 years of picking the best songs that he's ever written.
Okay.
And it was The Traveler by Chris Stapleton.
Well, dang.
With, I think, one of the best voices I've ever heard.
I think my runner-up would be Absolution by Muse.
Okay.
So
you want to do that next time? A country album versus a A Radiohead ripoff?
What? Oh, that's hurtful. That's really offensive. I'm deeply offended.
I was just kidding.
Is this going to be? Is this going to be like a bash on everyone who likes music?
No.
Fuck your interests, Blake.
No.
God.
And that's part of the reason why I didn't choose a Traveler, because I think a country album was, and I don't think it's worthy of being number one because rock has made such a bigger influence.
True. So if I threw down like a jazz album,
I'll bring on country. Hell yeah.
Well, no, I mean like, because I don't know, because I feel like you also just have a bias to rock. Because like, what if I did like some EDM like techno music or something?
That's garbage.
See, what if it was like the best masterfully created techno? And
here's where I think both of us like Green Day, both of us like Led Zeppelin, and so we were cool with that. But if you were to choose a Skrillex album as one of the best of all time, I would laugh at you.
You would? You wouldn't even, you wouldn't even listen to it?
No, I wouldn't concede.
You would just
on any front.
Oh, really?
No, because I don't respect computer beats as a musical art.
I mean,
I don't respect
I agree. Well, I don't agree.
Now, jazz, on the other hand,
oh sure,
I think some of if not most of the best musicians ever were part of jazz groups.
Sure.
And so I would definitely respect and listen to it wholeheartedly because one of my favorite, I think the greatest guitar player of all time, Stevie Ray Vaughan, took a lot of his influences from jazz and blues. So I would definitely listen to a jazz album. But if you were to choose an EDM or a Katy Perry or a Lady Gaga or any of that shit, I would laugh at you.
Damn.
There's no way.
Actually,
unless you were trying to go commercial, in which case I'll choose Thriller by Michael Jackson and beat you every time.
Well, okay. That's okay. All right. I guess you got me there. I don't know. I was going to say, have you ever listened to Kesha at all?
I listened to her new album.
Yeah,
my sister and my girlfriend showed it to me, and I actually like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was kind of a departure
she has a
from...
badass voice.
She has a really good voice.
What was that one really slow, sad song? Like Hurt or something? It's not
heard maybe the
two cover.
Oh, okay, sure, whatever.
It's not that, I promise.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think I heard the two top albums or the singles a while back. But I think
when I was in middle school, I liked listening to Kesha because it was the only thing that
I always thought it was Keisha.
Yeah, it was Keisha.
I thought
so she was an inner city black chick.
I don't know, dude. All right, so
we got to do one more category, right? Or do you want to just leave it as a standstill?
I'm okay with because this was the problem, and I think and for me, I think because of work and doing other podcasts and stuff, I just didn't have time to like legitimately think this through because. For the most part, I feel like we had a relatively structured.
I didn't either.
We had a relatively structured conversation about this, but I think if I was to meticulously plan this, I don't think I would have wanted to do a concept album versus a not concept album.
I would have wanted to do a concept album.
So, I would have done. I'm saying both of us have to do both. Of the same.
It would have. You would have chosen American Idiot, and I would have chosen The Wall,
and then being able to compare that would be
as a concept album, right? Maybe that's a note for next time if we need to decide on if it's going to be a concept album or not.
A little more prep and a little more meticulous planning, I guess. So, all right, fine. I'll concede to a draw. Do you agree to a draw?
Sure. Damn. I was going to give you the W, but I'll take the draw.
What do you mean you're going to give me the W?
Yeah.
How are you going to give me the W for what?
I was just kidding.
Oh yeah, I'm
gonna give you the W.
Oh really?
Led Zeppelin under Green Day.
Led Zeppelin's gonna hear this online. Blake, how dare you let Green Day win?
Jimmy Page, John Bonham is gonna come back and haunt me in the grave or whatever.
Yeah. Oh wait, is no one from Led Zeppelin alive?
John Bonham, the drummer, died.
Oh.
He was an alcoholic for most of his life.
No wonder he's a great drummer.
You're damn
He's
right.
like the newspaper man.
But Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones are still alive.
Okay. Yeah, so they're going to hear this and they're going to like find where you live and why didn't you...
And they're going to let me go on stage with them. And
oh, yeah.
Is that what you were thinking?
No. They were going to beat you because you didn't fight me on the lyric part.
I guarantee those old bastards won't beat me up.
You don't think so?
No.
They'll get that 16-year-old girl to come beat you up.
Have you ever seen It Might Get Loud?
No.
You need to. I'll watch that with you. That should be another documentary movie review kind of thing that we should do. It's Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, The Edge from U2, and Jack White from the White Stripes. And the three of them pretty much sit in a room and talk to each other about how they made their songs.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
It's amazing.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I'd be down. All right. So, anyways, that is the end. I guess an hour and 13 minutes have gone by. That's
not bad.
Crazy. Not bad.
Not bad.
All right. So yeah, that is the end of the One More Album movie review. Album review.
What do we call this?
I don't know.
One more album debate.
Well,
or one more greatest album.
One more greatest album. That'd be cool.
I have whatever.
I'm
you
horrible
decide.
at coming
You're
up
the
with
host.
names. Well, I know. I think the playlist on YouTube. I think it's like shit music advice or something, or shit movie, or I don't know, something crap, whatever. Anyways,
I know we have shit advice.
Yeah, shit, unwanted advice,
and then we have one more movie review. And then the only music one we've done was the Ninja Sex Party,
which I liked. That's the greatest album in the world.
Why didn't you pick that one?
Because we said no greatest hits,
no covers. But that's not a greatest hits.
They cherry picked all the hits. They cherry picked hits, so it's like you can't. That's unfair. I mean, never mind. All right, whatever. That is the end. In the comments, or message me or something. Give me some response. How do you like how did it turn out? Do you think Led Zeppelin sucks? Well, let me know. Do you want Blake to die? Well, let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. All
we can
that good
make
stuff.
that happen on the air.
If this video gets 100 views and 20 likes, I will kill Blake on the next podcast live. And
slowly.
Nope, it'll be fast.
It'll be quick. Oh, thank you.
But we'll do it in slow-mo. I'll record it so that we can keep playing it in slow-mo. So
you can hear the tears drop on the floor.
Why? But yeah,
I don't like Led Zeppelin.
It was all a farce. I was just kidding. I'm just a pretentious snob, just thinking of random shit. All right. Anyways, that is the end, everybody. I really hope you enjoy. Have a great day, night. Oh, also, if you think of any other albums that we should review, so yes. I don't have to think of albums to review, because that's difficult and time consuming. Anyways, everybody, peace out and have a great day or night, or that song by Kid Cudi. And that was the end of the episode. I hope you guys learned something. If you didn't, that's all right. Maybe the next time we'll get you some valuable information. So, just want to give another shout out to our sponsor. Haven Cottage Investments and Sabrina Parker, all those people, they do some great work, all right? Anything you want to learn, anything you want to know about buying, selling, leasing, anything property game at all right? You have to check them out. And if you mention the podcast, you get half off the commission rate and all that good stuff. Again, all the information is down in the description below. You have emails, phones, anything and everything. So give them a call, any information. Literally, I can't tell you guys how important this is, all right? Give them a check them out. Just do anything you can in terms of bettering your future, I guess is the best way to say it. All right, everybody, have a good one.